The days are longer, the calendar is filling up, and I want to feel as good as this beautiful summer weather. That's why I've been loving Groons. It's one daily pack of gummies that covers my greens, vitamins, and minerals, and even has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, so I don't need to juggle a complicated wellness routine on top of everything else. They taste amazing. They're easy to toss in my bag on the go. Plus, they're vegan, gluten-free, and HSA, FSA eligible for reimbursement. Save up to 52% off with promo code podcast at Groons.co. That's code podcast at GRUNS.co.
Hey, it's Mike Grimm, host of the Go Gopher Podcast, inviting you to join me for a live on-site episode on Thursday, October 5th at Head Flyer Brewing in Northeast Minneapolis. We'll be previewing the Minnesota-Michigan game, which is that week, the battle for the Little Brown Jug. We'll give away a pair of tickets to that game, have a couple of Gopher players on hand, and get everyone in the mood for Golden Gopher football. Head Flyer Brewing will have discounts, including great deals on buying Little Brown Jugs of craft beer. And the Little Brown Jugs are not that little. Thursday, October 5th, Head Flyer Brewing. Happy hour starts at 6. The show goes at 7. The Go Gopher Podcast. Can't wait to see you at Head Flyer Brewing. It's the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm, episode number 89. I am Mike Grimm, voice of the Golden Gophers, and welcome back to the podcast. We have a special guest with us this week as the newest member of the Gopher Radio Network broadcast team. Former Golden Gopher point guard Al Nolen was introduced this week as the new radio color commentator for men's basketball broadcast. Al played for Tubby Smith and the Gophers from 2008 through 2011 and is now helping in the community with the Al Nolen Foundation. He's been a previous guest on this podcast, and we're thrilled to welcome him back to talk about his new role with Gopher Radio. Our Go Gopher Podcast is presented by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're a business founder planning to exit your business, start by contacting Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. Sunbelt serves more businesses up to $5 million in revenue than anyone, and True North M&A serves companies with revenues up to $150 million. Get a confidential, no-cost, no-obligation business valuation started today. Make the most of your life's work. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com today. Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union is also a big sponsor of the Go Gopher Podcast. Life math is complicated, and Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union makes it easier with a local financial expert available to help in person or virtually. Learn more at affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. They sponsor our player profile each week as well, supporting Gopher student athletes. Again, to learn more, go to affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. We're also sponsored by Cub. September is running out, so don't waste time. Please, this week, join Cub, the University of Minnesota, and M Health Fairview Masonic Children's Hospital. Donate to Cub Kindness and give kids a chance at a full life. Cub Cares. The Go Gopher Podcast is also sponsored by Head Flyer Brewing, located in Northeast Minneapolis, right next door to campus, with a great vibe, great craft beer, and much more. Head Flyer Brewing will be hosting a live version of the Go Gopher Podcast next week. Mark your calendars, Thursday, October 5th, happy hour at 6, the live podcast at 7. There'll be beer specials. We'll give away a pair of tickets to the Minnesota-Michigan game. We'll have a couple of players stopping by to hang out for the podcast. If you haven't been to Head Flyer Brewing, please make a point to do so either next Thursday for the podcast or at any point. It's a great spot to stop. Our podcast is also sponsored by State Farm agent Tony Hoagland and ChamplinInsurance.com. We're podcasting episode 89 from the Aquarius Home Services studio. We invite you to subscribe to the Go Gopher Podcast. It's free to subscribe and free to listen at any time. In fact, you can go back and listen to past Go Gopher Podcast as well. Last week, for example, we had a great episode with Gopher football safety Tyler Newman, one of our favorites. And a little while back, we had Spencer Tollickson on as a guest. You can go back and listen to episode 81 as he talks about stepping away from his Gopher radio role. And you can bookend that with today's episode, bringing it full circle with Al Nolen, Spencer's replacement. Go back and listen. This episode, we're talking with Al Nolen next.
I'm Clay Geary, walk-on turned scholarship wide receiver for Gopher football.
And I'm Ben Utek, U of M alumni, Super Bowl champion, and Tony Dungy Uncommon Award winner.
We understand championship culture, which is why we're part of the True North family of companies.
True North invests in only elite teams, like the champion team at Sunbelt Business Advisors, Minnesota's largest seller of companies. To learn more about True North and our diverse family of independently owned companies, visit TrueNorthEquityPartners.com.
When we say that Cub milk is the freshest in town, we mean it. Less than 48 hours from farm to store fresh. We guarantee 7 days or more of freshness. It all starts with local dairy farmers who take great care in making sure all the cows are happy and healthy. We support local farm families 365 days a year. And that makes our milk even more delicious. So you always get the freshest milk and the biggest smiles.
It's episode number 89 of the Go Gopher Podcast. Mike Grimm with you, and it's my pleasure to welcome to our podcast a return trip, Al Nolen. He's been on this podcast before. I guess it was probably a year and a half ago, maybe.
Yeah, about a year and a half.
I think it was early 2022, probably, when we had you on talking about the Al Nolen Foundation. And
absolutely.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you as well. I love it. I'm excited.
Here we are, and some new circumstances since the last time we talked on the podcast. We have talked, of course, in between there. We've had you on halftime of our basketball broadcast and different things over the years. But you and I are going to be spending a lot of time here this winter, as you are our new Gopher Radio analyst for our men's basketball broadcast. And welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm so excited to be working alongside of you. You know, to learn from you, such an on-air talent like yourself. While I was a player, you were very involved with the team, so we had a great relationship then, and I just want to continue to build off that, and looking forward to the good season.
Yeah, we had, I had Kevin Lynch for 2 years, my first 2 years here. The great Kevin Lynch was my partner. Then he moved on to NBA duties with the Wolves, which he's still doing some of that. And then Don Zierden, who was awesome for 1 year. He was at the time the coach of the Lynx, and it worked because the Lynx played in the summer. And then Flip got the Washington job and said he wanted Don to be his assistant again. He was with him with the Wolves and with the Pistons and all that.
I remember
So that's when Spencer came on board, and time flies. That was already 14 years ago. Spencer spent 14 years with us here on the network, and then, some of his real-life work duties and family situation, in the sense that his kids are now getting old enough. He's like, he was going to step away and spend more time with family and commit to a little more time to his real work, which wasn't an option. They're like, you need to do this and travel some more and do this. And so that freed up a spot. And the irony is, of course, you and Spencer were teammates for a couple of years, right?
Spencer was my senior, man. Spencer taught me the ropes, man, coming in during the Tubby Smith era, the transition, and everybody was pretty fresh because I know Spencer, played for Munson. I was recruited by Munson as well. But Spencer, Dan Coleman, and Lawrence McKenzie, those were my seniors coming in, man. And so I love Spence. Spence, big spice, that's my man.
He is 50, as some of you guys, I think, still call him over the years. And have you had a chance to chat with Spence at all since this has all gone down?
Yeah, he reached out to me. He congratulated me. He was like, "Hey, congratulations, man! It's going to be a great job. You're going to do really well." And then he offered to take me out to breakfast or lunch so we could catch up, and he could kind of show me the ropes and kind of give me the ins and outs. So so I was very, very appreciative of that, and I'm still going to hold Spencer to that breakfast or lunch.
Yeah, for sure. Make sure he pays too. You can get that out of him. I could never get a free meal. No, that's not true. He bought a few times, so that was good. And obviously everyone has their own style. Our broadcast will likely sound different. A Grimm Nolen broadcast is going to sound different than Grimm and Tolix, and that's fine. That's good. We'll have our own unique personality as we move forward. That said, Spence was good at it, so take him up on that breakfast and find out what things work for him and see if they work for you. And not everything he did is going to work for you, and not everything you will do would have been good for him. And you'll find your voice and you'll find your identity.
Absolutely, I definitely plan to. I was really excited that he let me know. I was sad to see him go though, because he's been such a staple for Gopher basketball for so long. He was a color analyst when I was playing. So right as soon as he was done, my freshman year, he took it upon himself to become the analyst, and he was great, and so he's really going to be missed. But I really appreciate him, and I really look forward to getting with him and chatting. So
yeah, and he'll be around. I know he's excited because now he'll be able to bring I know his son is a big basketball fan, his daughter as well, and his wife, and they'll be able to come and just sit back and eat popcorn. They don't have to worry about putting in any work now, right?
It'll be a little different now. He'll be able to relax and watch the game. I'm sure he'll have some flashbacks while he's sitting down.
Yeah, we might call him in for a halftime interview and get his thoughts too.
Take us through what you have been up to now in terms of, I want to get to the foundation at some point here in the podcast, so let's put that on the back burner for a moment. But in terms of you and the game of basketball and staying in it, and now you're in a situation where you can impart all this knowledge as a player and as an administrator and all of this. Take us through your basketball. Obviously, we know about your playing days, and we'll get into some of those memories too. But your basketball, since your graduation here, I know you had some professional experience and some coaching experience. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I ended up playing overseas, Germany, Czech Republic, played in the NBA G League for a little bit, but kind of decided to retire a little early, was dealing with some nagging injuries. Upon coming back, I started working in the school system, and then, I still wanted to get my fix in basketball, so I started my own training program. And so I was working with kids in various communities, Stillwater, Chanhassen, Matamidi, just working on the basic basketball skills and trying to, pass along my knowledge of everything I knew. So it was very rewarding and gratifying to be able to pour into those young people. And so I've been doing that for about a decade, just going to various communities, doing different work, speaking to kids, and then also coaching. So I did a little bit of coaching. I started in middle school at Anthony Middle School, where I worked at with 7th, 8th grade, because I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to make that true commitment. Yeah. So middle school is, maybe 8 games in the season. So it was a nice little fix to see kind of how I felt about it. Then a couple years later, one of my former coaches, called me up like, hey, man, I got an open assistant coaching job. I would love to have you aboard. I was kind of like, I'm all right. I'm busy. I'm doing my training. I don't really want to commit to being a coach right now. I'm not ready. And so we sat down and doing some convincing. He was able to get me aboard, and so I was an assistant basketball coach at Brooklyn Center High School for a year, and that was very rewarding. I loved it, and I told myself eventually, once I get a little older, I'll settle back down and get back into the game. But for now, I just continue to run camps and clinics and, work with kids when they reach out for individual training. Yeah.
And this is a chance when you're on the radio to get back into a routine with a team. Now, obviously I'm not part of the playing part of it, but that's what keeps drawing me to keep doing this too, is I like to watch young guys come in as freshmen, as you did, watch them develop, watch them learn, watch them grow, watch them make mistakes, watch them get better, and then watch them excel.
Exactly.
And then do what you're doing in the community after the playing days. So I got to believe you're probably eager to get back into, road trip, let's go to Purdue. I'm going to hang out with these guys. I'm going to comment on them. If I can help them, we will. And just being around the vibe of young people.
Absolutely. I love what Coach Johnson is doing here. And, I've been following some of the players when they committed in high school. So I've been keeping up with, Braden Carrington, Ola Joseph, and Pharrell Payne and those guys. And so to see them transition from high school, become Gophers, and now going into their sophomore year, a good core group of guys. I'm just really excited to be around, man, and toss some nuggets whenever it's needed or asked of me. But really, I'm just looking forward to enjoying the journey and being back in Gopher Nation.
Yeah, being around, and then imparting your knowledge on our listening audience over the course of a game, and letting them know why this might have happened or what you're seeing here. And sometimes it won't always be rosy. Sometimes it'll be, well, that was a mistake, and they'll have to learn from it. Sometimes it'll be, man, that's why that kid's going to be all Big Ten, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Who are some influences for you, maybe all the way back to youth basketball, that have kind of helped blaze the trail and help you get to where you are?
Yeah, you know what? A lot of people don't know this. I had a coach by the name of Vernon Simmons. He was St. Paul Johnson head coach for an extremely long time. So part of my time living in St. Paul, I played for Jimmy Lee. And so he was huge on getting me involved in basketball. I initially started my love for football. And so then my mother was like, hey, I want you to get out the house and be more active and get in some activities. And so she forced me to play basketball, and I ended up loving it. And so he was very integral of coming to pick me up, dropping me off, making sure I was fed. She's just a great guy overall and really got me started. And then I moved on into kind of excelling and branching out, where I started playing for Minnesota Magic, Elite back in the day. And, I had teammates such as Blake Hoffer, who was one of my teammates, Cole Aldridge, John Lure. So we were really, running the town, the show of the town. And, so my experience was really great. I was able to connect with a lot of different athletes and various communities of people that I still have strong ties and relationships till this day with.
And then coaches, how about like high school coaches and obviously Tubby Smith here?
Absolutely. Larry McKenzie.
Yeah.
Larry McKenzie.
The legend, right?
Coach McKenzie, a legend in the Minnesota basketball scene. He just recently retired from Minneapolis North High School. He won a couple titles there, won multiple titles at Henry High School. He was definitely very influential growing up and seeing the success he had, and then also how he allowed his players to play the game that they wanted to play and the style they wanted to play. Really drew me to him, and so I attended Henry High School because of him. And so he was very intricate in just making sure we were disciplined. We would wake up and do 6 a.m. runs in the morning. We would have 2-a-day practices in high school. He was really a stickler about your grades and doing well in class, and he was really on top of all that. And I know if I didn't have a coach like him who also cared about the school aspect and teaching you how to be a student and an upstanding young man in the community, I don't know if I would have made it. So I'm very appreciative of him. He's definitely been played an integral role in my success and a lot of other young men's success in the community.
And then how about Coach Smith?
Oh man, Coach Smith. Coach Smith, man, I was so excited. When Coach Smith came, I originally was recruited by Dan Munson, and so that summer, or kind of the summer, I got a text message while I was in class saying like, "Hey man, Tubby Smith's your new coach," and I can remember like this day I was in science class and I was like, "What? Like the legend Tubby Smith from University of Kentucky, national champion?" And so to get here and to be able to play for such a legend and learn from him, and I know the guys these days wouldn't understand. We used to have practice every day at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And that was unheard of. And looking back on it, I love it, though, because it helped me to, really transition into the career field where it's like, hey, man, you got to get up early. You got to be ready to go, knock out everything you need to do, at the very beginning of your day. And he was very hard-nosed, very old school. And at the time, it was a little difficult to understand because you wanted to have a little more leeway. I know when we played, we would have kind of the hockey substitutions, 5 in, 5 out. It's like, Coach, let us get a little warmed up. But he brought a great spotlight to the University of Minnesota program and to all the players. We got a lot more exposure due to our coach, being Tubby Smith. So it was a great experience, man. I wouldn't trade it in for the world. And I still talk to him to this day. I think I spoke to him not too long ago, just explaining to him about my foundation and, just letting him know that I really appreciate him. Even though we butted heads, point guard, head coach, that's,
he was hard on point guards.
He was hard on us. He was hard on us. And I believe every coach is that way, because you're an extension of them on the floor. And so I know Coach Johnson is going to be the same way with, with his players. So, I love Coach, and it was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, you made a point there that people forget about because of maybe how it ended. And some people that still can be debated as to whether there should have been a change there or not because he had just won a NCAA tournament game.
Right.
But what his hiring did was kind of reestablish the Gophers, legitimized them, I guess, because
Absolutely.
it just had waned enough that at that point clearly there was a change needed, and all of a sudden you're bringing in a Hall of Fame coach, and so you're right. The journey, remember that was the first year.
Yes.
Bill Friedman just texted yesterday. He's remember Bill? He was the producer. He still works for BTN, but he was the producer of that first journey. The journey now does all kinds of different stories.
Right.
The first journey was basically a Netflix series before Netflix did it.
Exactly.
On you guys.
It was.
On Tubby's first year. And it was so he texted yesterday, and because he always would take credit for Spencer being in the media, because Spencer was kind of one of the figures of that team. And he texted yesterday. I hadn't heard from Bill in a while. He texted and said, "I got you another one, didn't I?" So he's taking credit for you being in the media from that journey experience. I'm
okay with it. And we had that was our inaugural season. And one of the things that didn't make the journey, and a lot of people don't know, was that Coach was on us about being kind of like soft. He's like, you guys are soft. You're getting pushed around by Michigan State. They were like probably top 5 in the country. Yeah. And I remember that was kind of a wake-up call for us. Like, okay, this is serious Big Ten basketball. And so one day we came out into the pavilion, and there were helmets and shoulder pads. And so he told the Big Ten cameras, like, we're not gonna film this.
This won't be on the journey.
This won't be on the journey, guys. And so then we proceeded to play basketball with helmets and pads and just running into each other. So it was great memories.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, Tubby, as we mentioned, was pretty demanding. You look back, it sounds like, though, on it, and again, at times, I'm sure it's no different than a father-son relationship, a brother-brother,
right.
Whatever, mother-son. There are times where that's going to butt heads, but then given a distance of time between some of those headbuttings, you, it sounds like, are like, man, it was good for me. I grew from that.
Absolutely, because you understand in hindsight now everything he was saying. You know, when he would tell us, nothing good's happened after midnight, son. That's why we have you guys practicing 7 a.m. in the morning, so you're tired tired and want to go to sleep at night. And so just everything he was teaching you, as you continue to move forward in life, you start to understand all the little nuggets and gems. Like, you know what, Coach told me this was going to happen. Coach told us about this, but at the time, you know, being a college student, kind of airy, you're like, yeah, whatever, man. I'm going to the NBA. You know, I'm here to play basketball. And so yeah, he was like that military grandfather. Yeah. You know, that was just no nonsense. Just it wasn't for any of the games, but it was great for us. It really was. And he did bring a national spotlight to the University of Minnesota and put the Gophers back on the map.
You went through 2 second semesters that were challenging, one through academic issues and then the other through an injury. What'd you learn from those things, and how does it still maybe impact how you go about your business, especially when you talk to young kids as well?
Yeah, I just teach them, you know, especially with the academic being ineligible, just about, you know, learning proper study skills and also being focused and being disciplined, and then utilizing the tools around you. You know, sometimes I was afraid to ask for help, or sometimes I was afraid to be like, hey, I really don't know how to do that. I'm really not great at that. You know, in high school, I wasn't, you know, particularly a amazing student. However, I always wanted to play basketball, and, you know, there's a GPA requirement, which was great because it held me to a standard, you know, some type of standard. And, you know, so just learning from that experience of just the study skills, being disciplined, you know, utilizing the tools around you and asking for help was very, very eye-opening. And, you know, a lot of our academic counselors were able to get me back on track, and I spent a lot of days sitting right across from them like we are now, studying, writing papers.
Probably in this almost area where we're
exactly
recording,
in
right?
this area. And so so it was very challenging, but, you know, once I was able to get through it, it was like, man, it was a great learning experience for me to move forward and then pass on the lessons that I've learned to the young people I've worked with in the school systems. And then moving on to my senior year where I broke my foot, man, that was heartbreaking. You know, that was even more heartbreaking for me than being academically ineligible, because I knew I had one more year.
And that team was special.
That team was special. We went to Puerto Rico, beat North Carolina. They were number 8 in the country, beat West Virginia, Western Kentucky, all 3 tournament teams at the time. Came back home, were ranked 13th in the country. And I know I had, a stress fracture.
And it was at Michigan, right?
Yes. So I had a stress fracture. They had told me to sit out for a little bit. Then I came back, and the doctor told me, he said, man, either you can get surgery right now, or we can, make you a customized shoe or these different type of things, because you have the possibility of this breaking. And so in my mind, it's like, hey, we're rolling right now, though. We just beat Purdue. They were number 8 in the country. Like, we're getting back on. I was like, hey, I'll just do the treatment. I'll wear the boot out and whatnot, but I want to keep playing. I don't want to leave my teammates hanging at this pivotal moment. And so, like you said, at Michigan, rolled my foot, end up breaking it. I knew something serious had happened. Normally, I'd be able to gut it out and continue playing. And then Raj told me, he's like, hey, man, he felt on my foot after the game. He's like, yeah, you broke it.
Oh, your heart sank then.
It sank, because I knew then it was like, man, it's over for me, at this point. And 2 years back to back where my seasons have been cut short. And like you said, we had some special teams ranked top 25, top 20.
Yeah.
So very heartbreaking.
Yeah. See, you missed the senior point guard, and that team then kind of spiraled a little bit. I think Blake was trying to play point guard.
Yes.
As talented as he is, he's not a point guard. I think was Maverick on that? Was Maverick also trying to? He was a freshman trying to learn the ropes. So it changes when your senior point guard isn't there, and it's just dumb luck.
Yeah.
That kind of short circuits the season. So those are lessons in life, though.
Absolutely, they are, and that's just one of pushing through adversity and developing character. And so it's helped me with various challenges in my life that I've run into, where it's like, hey, I was able to overcome being academically ineligible at the U. I was able to overcome breaking my foot my senior year. So, some of the things I've run into in life, it has prepared me to, have some tough skin and be able to navigate the adversity.
And now I think the thing has progressed to the point where resources, and the Big Ten's done this, the University of Minnesota's done this, there's more, even from when you were here, there's more money coming in from TV, so more resources. I don't know all the details of the academic side of it, but I'm not sure that now with all the help, all the different things, and I will say this, the other thing is, you mentioned, you weren't sure to ask for help and different things. That has become much more accepted now. Remember, even like 10, 12 years ago, 20 years ago for sure, and then when I was young, 30 years ago, like if you thought you had to ask somebody for help, that was a sign of weakness.
Yes.
And now I think we've flipped that as a society into the sign of strength. Like, it's strong to say, man, I need some help here. And so I think given in today's situation, it might not even happen, right?
Yeah.
Because you would be less, afraid's not the right word, but there was this stigma of, well, don't ask for help. That means you're weak. And I think it's still there some, but I think we've hopefully punched the ceiling out on that thing that if a kid is struggling academically or emotionally or mental health wise, that it's now okay. Like, hey, get some help, ask for some help, and get back on track much quicker.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand. There's a lot of pressure on college players, you know, and during my time, you were still considered an amateur athlete. And so it was a lot different where people had these expectations of us to carry ourselves as pros and then still also attend class and, fly out to Illinois and go to Northwestern and then come back and try to catch up on whatever notes you missed in the lecture. And then also dealing with all the social aspects. And it's definitely heightened now with social media for these guys. I would have never wanted to play in this area with the social media. And like you said, I dealt with some depression. I dealt with some depression in the ebbs and flows of the basketball season. But there was nobody here, like you said, to go to and say, hey, I'm really depressed. I'm dealing with, Coach Smith is on my tail. I'm struggling in class. The fans are on me about turning the ball over. Just all kind of different elements that can compile on you at one time. And a lot of people may not know because they're like, well, you're an athlete. Just work, get through it. Right. And so now, like you said, there's more resources where these student athletes, which is great, can reach out to, mental health services or various people when they need that support. And it's awesome to see how, the Big Ten has grown in this short span of time with everything. And I think it's amazing. Let me real quickly get a sponsor mention in for our Go Gopher podcast. Al Nolen is our guest here. We want to talk about Affinity Plus at your local credit union, proudly serving Minnesota since 1930. If you're a current Gopher student or a proud Gopher alum, you are eligible to join a financial that wants to build a meaningful banking relationship and put you first. You can meet with a local employee at any of their branches statewide. There's one, in fact, right here near campus on University. To learn more or find other ways to connect, here's the webpage, affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. That's affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA. We thank them for their support of Gopher Athletics and their support here of the Go Gopher Podcast. Al Nolen with us here, the new basketball analyst for our radio broadcast. You mentioned something way back I had to follow up now with you on. You said football was your first love, and then your mom got you into basketball to keep you busy. So take me all the way back. How good of a football player were you? I was a really good football player. I was about third grade. I was faster than all the kids, so that's what made me really good. So you get the ball and run away. Exactly. And so football's fallish, and so when summertime or spring would come around, my mom's like, man, you need to get out the house. And so I'm like, no, I want to sit in the house. WWE was on really big back in the time. I was really into wrestling and jumping around. And so, she really forced me. And I was really upset with her at the time. She's like, no, you got to go to practice. You need to go to tryouts. And then, like I said, it really just grew from there. And then, I had some great coaches around me because I come from humble beginnings. And so, my parents, or my mother in particular, I was living with her at the time as they were divorced, wasn't going to be able to, take me to and from practice every day. We didn't have a car. She wasn't going to be able to get me to the game all the time, struggled to kind of try to raise money to pay team fees and whatnot. And so coaches were really good about, figuring out how to get me scholarships. It was really a great experience. And so being around a group of great male mentors was instrumental to my success and really drew me into the game. And then also having the teammates and creating that camaraderie, which was really important, and feeling like, hey, I got a family and we're all going towards one mission and same goal. And, we're all going through the struggles of practice and two-a-days or tournaments and, at 8:30 in the morning, all these different things. So it was really great for me as a young person. And that's why I would say, for all the young people to get in some type of curricular activity, especially if it's a team sport, because you're able to learn a lot of life lessons through that. I should know this, and maybe I did at one point. How long did you play football then? So I played up until about 6th grade, because that's when they start hitting really hard. You said that was enough? And so I was like, I'm good. I remember playing where they brought up a league here. I can't exactly remember the league, but we were able to play Champlain Park. Yeah. And so we played Champlain Park in the championship in the Metrodome, and we ended up losing. And I was playing. And you're like in 6th grade? 6th grade, quarterback. They switched me from running back to quarterback now, and it was heartbreaking. And so then the next year, I was kind of like, you know what? I really want to put all my ducks into basketball at this point. And I sat down and I had a conversation with my mom. She was like, that's fine as long as you're really serious about this and really putting the work in. And so I actually had a couple football coaches because I lived directly down the block from Jimmy Lee. And so I had a couple stop by my house like, man, you didn't show up to practice. And then they end up being able to get me there, but I was like, I don't want to play quarterback. I want to play like wide receiver or something. And I had played it so well the previous year that coach was like, no, we want you at quarterback. So I kind of was like, I don't want to play anymore then. And so that was kind of that for me. But like I said, it got to the point where guys start really hitting. You know, it's not like third grade, fourth grade anymore, a little nicks and
not flag football.
It's not flag. It's like, you know what? I'll stick to the finesse basketball style. Yeah. I will leave this to the other guys.
I mean, obviously it turned out great. You end up being, a scholarship basketball player playing in the Big Ten. Do you ever think back, like, what if I'd have stuck it out?
Oh, yeah. I could have started the defensive back here at the University of Minnesota and been all Big Ten. I feel like my head and eye coordination and my footwork, my speed in particular, playing, guarding a guy 94 feet, just putting on some pads. I was like, I would have been a serious DB. I could come up and hit the tight end at the
They probably could have used you in 2009, 10, and 11.
Yeah. I know we had Brian Allen. He played,
he played
two
both,
ways.
Yeah.
So I almost thought about telling him, like, hey, talk to coach and see if I can come out there and practice. So I definitely thought about that, though. Like, man, especially seeing Tyler Johnson. He was from my community in North Minneapolis. Seeing him play, I'm like, you know what? I might have been able to be a Division I football player. I think I had the intangibles to do so.
You had the skill set, I think. Yeah. You're, what, 6'2"-ish?
6'1".
6'1"? That's plenty high for plenty tall for a defensive back.
Yeah, 6'1", 185 in college. So I was like, I could get that done.
No question. And from that standpoint, I know Marcus he called me yesterday and said, hey, can I get a few comments on Al? And I'm like, absolutely. And I said, I remember you as one of the better perimeter defenders that we've had here defensively. And so those skills would have translated to football, right?
Absolutely. And I would have been excited to play. But then again, I would have loved the September games. Yeah. But once it started to get cold in that stadium, I was like, you know what, and then you get to hitting hard and you're frozen. I was like, no, I'm all right. I'll go back into the barn.
And at some point, as a defensive back, you're going to have to make that business decision. Do I stick my head on that guy's kneecap coming at me at 100 miles an hour? And so basketball was probably the wise choice, much less concussion risk and those kind of things. As you now look back on your career, what were some fond memories that you take from your time here as a basketball player?
Definitely my freshman year when Blake Hoffarver hit that turnaround, one-handed shot floater to beat Indiana in the Big Ten tournament. That was huge. That was really a highlight.
That was in Indianapolis.
Yes.
Tubby's first year,
Yep. Then also, my senior year, beating North Carolina, West Virginia, Western Kentucky, that was huge because nobody really expected us to. And my junior year, we were actually ranked 16th in the country and beat Butler. And they had went to the national championship and lost to Duke.
Was that in Anaheim?
In Anaheim,
yeah.
And they went to the national championship and lost to Duke. So coming into my senior year, we were really underrated. It's like, hey, we're bringing everybody back. We're adding Trevor Mbakwe. Like, we got Colton, we have Ralph, we got Blake, we got DeVoe. We have a star-studded group, and we weren't ranked. And I'm like, wow. And so I know I was, a little perturbed.
Chip on the shoulder.
Big Ten Media Day. Nobody came to talk to me, Blake and I. And so my senior year was really huge because, like you said, it was really special. And we were a top-notch team then. And so winning that Puerto Rico tournament, and then also the Big Ten tournament, hitting that shot, and then being able to play in the NCAA tournament when we lost to Texas. It was just a great experience, but it was the one time I was able to enjoy that.
Yeah, that was down in Greensboro, North Carolina. I remember that. So my favorite memory of you, and I think we've talked about this, is the game against Rick Pitino, whose assistant was Richard Pitino. Remember that? Down at the football field at the Dome Stadium in Phoenix.
Right.
And as it turns out, that year, Louisville ended up, I can't remember if they won it all, but they were the number one overall seed.
Number one overall seed.
In the tournament. And then you pretty well put that game on ice for the final 10 minutes. They Tubby just kept calling that, I don't know, one forward deal. Mm-hmm. And who was our guard that you held in check?
Edgar Sosa.
Yeah,
Sosa.
Right.
He was a top-notch point guard.
And you just shut him down.
I tried. It was a team effort. We always had a great team defense, and it was very exciting. I forgot. How could I forget about that? That was one of the best moments ever to beat those guys because I felt like that was the kind of turning point, or to let people know we were serious.
Yeah,
where Coach 100%. Smith is playing his old mentor, and I know he really wanted to win, and then you got Lil Richard sitting on the sideline as well.
I interviewed him for the pregame show because they didn't. I usually try to get the head coach of the other team, and Louisville said because they got in late or something. I forget, there was some plane issue, and they said we'll give you Richard Pitino. I'm like, fine, whatever. And then like 2 years later, he's here, which was funny. But take me through that. So it was like you would be the point, and then they put 4 guys on the baseline, and you guys had to run that play 15 straight times, right? Or whatever action, whatever that was. What was that? Take us through that.
Yeah, so we kind of got down to the end of the game, and coach was just like, hey, I want you, to create, for yourself. If you can get to the basket and make a layup, great, but really I want you to get into the paint and draw the defenders and kick out, whether you're bounce passing it to Ralph or you're hitting Hoffarber for a three-point shot, because he had a really big game that day. And so we just ran 1-4 flat, and, I felt like I could pretty much get by anybody. I wasn't too flashy, but I had a pretty quick step. And so, once I got by, if I was able to draw the other defender, I was great at, dishing it off. Really, I preferred to dish it off. And if not, then I would try to finish or get fouled. And so I was able to dish it a couple times, able to finish a couple times, able to get fouled, and then we were able to knock down our free throws at the end.
You hit some big free throws, if memory serves, in that game, right?
Right.
Yeah, that was I forget what they called it, but they were all former Patino assistants, because I think there was another game before ours, Arizona State. And I think Herb Sendek was a former Patino guy, and he was there, and I forget who the other team was, but it was an event.
Yep.
And I think in retrospect, that was, like you say, you made the tournament later in the year, and I think that win, because there was really a little bubbleness to that end of the season. Was that also the year you guys made the Big Ten championship game?
No.
That was that was
junior year.
That was your junior year.
Yep.
Gotcha. And that was a run in Indy, because the Gophers weren't even on the bubble heading into Indy, and I think beat Purdue, beat Michigan State.
Yep, and then ran into Ohio State.
And then ran into, Ohio State. Those teams, man, those Ohio State. How did they not at some point with Evan Turner and some of those that win it all? They went to a couple Final Fours, and I think for like a 5-year stretch were the winningest team in the Big Ten. They just had tall, long guys that could shoot and dunk, and so you guys ran into them. So that was the Texas NCAA tournament, and I think that win against Louisville was probably the cincher that put you from bubble-ish to, okay, they're in.
Absolutely.
And as it turned out, you were in fairly solidly. I think it was a 9 or 10 seed. So there was people nervous, but as it turned out, there were several teams under the Gophers.
Right. Yep. 7-10.
Yeah. So that was that's my the game I remember the most was that Louisville game.
That was a great game
in Phoenix. That was fun.
Yes.
That was fun. One more quick sponsor mention I want to talk about, because next week we have a really fun night planned. We're going to do a live Go Gopher podcast, and we invite you out to one of our sponsors, Head Flyer Brewing. Head Flyer Brewing, if you haven't been there, first of all, get there, because it's just this awesome location, awesome vibe. They have outdoor seating, perfect time right now in the fall to sit outdoors and enjoy a beverage. Head Flyer Brewing has all the great beers, IPAs, hazy IPAs, regular beers. My favorite beer is the No Funny Stuff beer. It's a little lighter. That's my personal taste, but they have the big flavors as well. And next Thursday night, October the 5th, we have a live Go Gopher podcast. We'll have a happy hour from 6 until 7 o'clock there with drink specials, and they're going to do something really cool. I saw these. They're these brown growlers, and since it's the Michigan game next week, it's a little brown jug of beer, of microbrew that you can buy. They're going to have a really good deal on those. And for the show, and then for the rest of the fall, they are releasing a new rye IPA, and it's going to be called Rye Yuma.
Oh, I love it.
It's got a little maroon and gold look to it. And so they'll be releasing that next Thursday night for the first time for not just Gopher fans, but anybody who wants to drink a rye IPA. Rye Yuma. That's all next week. Happy hour at 6, the podcast at 7. We'd love to see a great crowd. Show those great folks at Head Flyer Brewing the power of Gold Country. They also have these cool Head Flyer Gopher t-shirts, and if you buy those and then come back on any Gopher game day, home or road, you get $2 off beer during the game if you wear that Gopher shirt. So that's next week. It's Head Flyer Brewing. If you can't make it, certainly you can listen back to the podcast, but I also invite you to head out. It's 1.5 miles from the stadium. Is also pregame or postgame. If you're heading to the Gopher football games, stop by ahead of time, stop by afterwards, stop by both ahead and after. And for road games, it's a great place to go watch the game as well. And we mentioned if you get that Head Flyer Gopher t-shirt, you'll get on game watch days and on game days $2 off beer during the Gopher game. So next Thursday, mark it again, October 5th, Head Flyer Brewing, Northeast Minneapolis. We hope to see you there. We'll have a couple of Gopher football players on hand to be on the Go Gopher podcast. And let's hope we're talking about a homecoming win this weekend and then looking ahead to Michigan. And they'll have the Little Brown Jug Growler specials coming up next week.
Hi, Gopher fans. Switching is easy. We do it all the time. We switch on lights, we switch TV channels, we switch on the TV. And with the new transfer portal, some college students even switch colleges, which can seem crazy to us diehard fans. But what's not crazy is how you can switch and save with State Farm. In fact, my agency can switch you over so we can start saving today. My team is ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood and show you it is, in fact, easy to switch and save. When you want the real deal, check us out at ChamplinInsurance.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It's episode 89, the Go Gopher Podcast. Al Nolen is with us here, and we saved here this final little segment to talk about your foundation, the Al Nolen Foundation,
yes.
Which you have really had an impact on the community. Tell people about it.
Yeah, so, the Al Nolen Foundation, our mission is to support at-risk youth with social isolation, economic hardships, emotional trauma. So we do that by facilitating a program called the Academy of Excellence. It's a summer program, 4 weeks, 4 days a week, 4 hours a day. And it's basketball centered, but we pair with informative class sessions surrounding social emotional learning, financial literacy, health and wellness, STEM activities. And so part of it is to the basketball piece is to reel the kids in, and so they're really locked in, and then we kind of transition and fill in 45 minutes here and there with these different informative class sessions led by professionals. And so part of social emotional learning is trying to teach our kids conflict resolution skills that they can use with their peers, they can use with their coaches, they can use with authority, parents, policemen in the community, and then also STEM activities, obviously, with helping with technology. Catching up tech is huge, and so just trying to expose our scholars to the tech world and give them a little bit of experience while we have them there to see kind of what their strengths are and also their interests, because not all the kids want to play sports and basketball. So we got to kind of help them to figure out who they are and what they want to do and what their strong points are. And like I said, expose them to various things. I know also, we had Stalk and Spade, they were great in catering to us a couple years ago. And they're a plant-based bar and grill. And so, they came over and gave us all the plant-based burgers and fries. And so I didn't tell our kids for 3 days. I just let them eat it. Like, they don't know that those nuggets are made of plants or that burger's made of plants. And so they were eating it up. They were loving it. And so then I told them, and they were like, really? And so that's one way of just helping them kind of understand healthy eating and how the world's kind of trying to transition more into the vegan lifestyle to, live longer and also to be able to think better in class, focus more, and be more productive. And so it's a great program. We're looking as well to serve more kids where we're transitioning into an after-school program, which I've facilitated many of times during my time in the school system, working in education for over a decade. And so I partner with Minneapolis Park and Recs right now, and they've been great about just being supportive and allowing us to have the space and providing resources. And we're just looking to build off that, particularly in our community. And of course, we had the University of Minnesota Gopher basketball team come by the past 2 years. And the kids are always ecstatic when they come by. And, we just thank Coach Johnson for coming by, Dawson Garcia, Pharrell Payne, Jack, Braden Carrington. Last year we had Tara Samuels and Jameson Battle stopped by. So it's huge. And then also helping the kids in the community who normally don't get to see Gophers to understand, hey, it's possible. You could become a Gopher. You don't have to necessarily be an athlete. You can go to school and be a doctor. You can go to school and be whatever you want to be. So providing them that exposure and then to have the guys come over to our community is huge for them to see them, touch them, talk to them, play with them is really huge, And so that's just kind of just focusing on trying to build the community youth and expose them to various things and so they could be productive adults and human beings in society.
And I know when we talked last time, a while ago, when you were on the podcast, you talked about having people from the community come in and talk to them. Sometimes people that, grew up with means and are highly successful. Sometimes people that were at risk and end up highly successful. Take us through some of the experiences and people you've been able to expose these youngsters to.
Yeah, so we'll have I had a young man that I used to work with actually in Stillwater during my training days. And he's actually Metcalf's son, Rob Metcalf's son.
Yeah.
You know, so I was working with him, and he started his clothing brand called Blind Havoc. And so I was like, man, we got to have you over to talk to our kids. You're still, you know, relatively very young, and talk to them about entrepreneurship and about the process. Because I remember you as a young fella and doing the basketball training with you, and then I also watched your journey of you growing your entrepreneurship. And so, you know, he was able to come over and for the kids, they see somebody like himself, and to be so young and then to be so successful, and then also to provide, you know, about his clothing brand Blind Havoc and kind of ignoring what's negative. And it's a great message, you know, for them to see. It's awesome. And so that was really, you know, rewarding for them. And then also we had various gentlemen in the community that, you know, went to North High School, and they would come by, and, you know, they were very highly touted players at the time. And you know, just one misstep kind of derailed them. And so they would come and talk about, you know, just staying on track, staying focused, you know, isolating yourself from the nonsense and finding good friends and good people to be a part of, listening to your mentors, and you know, kind of being an example, and also figuring out how to turn it around. So we were able to do that. We also had William Humphreys come by, you know, this past year, and he served us some of his new Dave's hot chicken they got out of Minnetonka, and then also some Five Guys, which was awesome. And the kids were really elated to meet him. We were hoping Chris was going to come by, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. I know Dawson was looking for him as well. So we got to get Chris back around to you a lot more. But yeah, so we just like to feed the kids with various different knowledge and different people from all walks of life. Like you said, successful, going to the U of M, played in NBA, you know, owning chain restaurants, to a gentleman who's in the community still doing the work that, you know, had potential to go on and be this great person. However, might have ran into some of the hurdles and some of the things that plague our community, some of the potholes. And so just having that mix is really good for our kids' development. How
much of your own experience, you've already cited when you were young, you had to have mentors that took you to practice and brought you home and did so. How much, I'm guessing all of that experience is why you've decided to pursue this.
Yeah, it's exactly why, because I know my journey was extremely tough, and I know it was very unique. And so, you know, going through all the trials and tribulations, you know, helped mold me into the man I am today. However, it was like, man, it was very important for me to have all of these different people in my life, though, when it came to the academic counselors, Coach Smith being on my butt, you know, being hard on me, my parents, gentlemen in the community, mentors, some of my friends who, you know, passed away due to gun violence, just all of these different things, you know, all came together to create who I was. And so I understood that a lot of kids are dealing with the same thing. And I just want to kind of express and explain to them how to navigate that, and also what to look for. Like, hey, be prepared for this, you know, be prepared for that. And when this comes, you're going to want to take a left and not a right. And so just trying to help them navigate. But funny as it is, a lot of them don't know my story. I really don't talk about it too much. Hell, that half of them don't even know I played for the Gophers. They just are happy when Braden and Dawson come by and whatnot. And so, you know, I've always talked to myself like, man, I need to let them know a little bit more about me. But I'm so busy, you know, just kind of, you know, feeding them with other things that I say, well, sooner, you know, maybe you guys it'll click for you. But just trying to provide those resources for them. That's really what it is.
Funding for this, how does it work? It doesn't just show up out of nowhere. Yeah. So I'm sure you're doing some fundraising and connecting with people, and maybe even this podcast listeners that say, gosh, that is awesome, I want to help. What's the way they can do that?
So yeah, they can just go to our website. It's alnolenfoundation.org, and Nolen with the E. You know, for all you Gopher fans, I'm sure you guys remember a lot of people spell it with the A. So
I spelled it with an A for 4 years.
Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah, it happens. So alnolenfoundation.org, and we have a donate button on our page, you know, where you can make a monetary donation, but also, you know, we've had people provide basketball shoes, help us out with equipment. I'm starting a basketball team, so jerseys, travel, tournament fees. And then also, if anybody just wants to reach out, they can contact us on the page as well to just kind of maybe figure out, hey, what do you guys need help with? Yeah. Or, hey, I work here. We can help you with meals. Because I know people are good about, hey, we want to come over and cater to you guys, give you some good, fresh meals and whatnot. So, you know, that's really how I can do it. And I plan on doing some fundraisers here moving into the future, which you're definitely going to be invited to, obviously, just to raise some funds. But right now, I've just been talking to kind of individual donors. I had a lot of good buddies of mine. I know John Lure. He helped out a lot. I know I've reached out to Blake. His company helped out and supported. Coach Johnson sends the players over, which is huge. And we had the community kind of just, you know, surround us and take us in. So we're just looking to scale. But you can definitely go to the website, and that's the way to donate.
Yeah, and maybe if people don't have the means to donate money, but work for a company that might be able to provide resources. They can talk to the important people, or say, even if it's, hey, we'll bring some people over to talk to the kids a day or whatever.
And I want to tell you something that's really neat. So I was telling you, I started with basketball training with kids in Chanhassen, Stillwater, Matamia. And so, these families are pretty well off. And so I remember saying to myself, I was like, post George Floyd and in the pandemic, I was like, man, I need to get in my community and offer my services, for free of charge pretty much, and try to help build back up, after these tragic events. And so I reached out to a lot of the parents, kids that I trained, and they were like, absolutely, we would love to help you. A lot of them had, family charitable funds, and they're like, hey, we'll have our company Medtronic or Cargill match. And so they were really who helped me to start my foundation and build, were these individual donors and these parents of kids that I've had been training for years and years and years, who have been part of my camps and clinics.
That were not at risk.
That were not at risk at all, and that just wanted to step in and help. And so I was like, man, this is amazing. This is the power of sport, because I would never be able to connect with you guys probably any other time, seeing as our backgrounds are pretty different. The different communities we come from, you don't cross paths too often, but, basketball brought us together. And then, we all, shared in a common cause, which is working with the youth. And so those parents have really, been the wind in my sails to keeping my foundation running and operating. So I do appreciate all those parents.
It's amazing.
It is.
You're right. Sports is amazing. It can create these great partnerships that you never figured would happen.
Exactly.
And teammates and all of that. Well, hey, we'll have you on the podcast again. I can't wait for basketball to start. November 6th, November 3rd, I think, Bethune-Cookman.
Yes.
You and I.
I'm excited.
Let's do it.
I'm excited. You hear me? I'm at home practicing in the mirror, Mike.
Let's do it. You got it. The good news is you can practice the mirror. No one gets to see us. All they can do is hear us. So you don't even need to shower.
There we go.
Well, you better shower. All right, Al, always great to chat with you. AlNolenFoundation.org.
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. And we will chat soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
There he is, Al Nolen, the new basketball commentator for the Gopher Radio Network. It's episode 89, the Go Gopher Podcast.
That's former Gopher basketball player Al Nolen talking about his memories as a Gopher and his new role as Gopher Radio Network men's basketball analyst. I hope you enjoyed hearing from him. We'll hear from him throughout the winter. Episode 89 is presented by Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're buying or selling a business, visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com. We're also partnered with Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union, a locally member-owned full-service financial invested in you. You can learn more at affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. affinityplus.org/Go Gophers. They have a top-ranked mobile app as well. Cub sponsors the Go Gopher podcast. It's the official grocer of the Golden Gophers. Everyone deserves a chance at a full life. Join Cub, the University of Minnesota, and M Health Fairview Masonic Children's Hospital. Donate to Cub Kindness at the register and help kids live happier, healthier lives. Thank you for making a difference. And Head Flyer Brewing in Northeast Minneapolis is proud to support the Go Gopher podcast. Head Flyer Brewing is just a mile and a half from the stadium. Stop in for great tasting beer tonight. And don't forget, Head Flyer Brewing is a pregame or postgame spot for Gopher football home games and also an option for game watches on Gopher road games. And a live Gopher podcast. Mark your calendar for next Thursday, October 5th. Happy hour 6 to 7, the show 7 to 8. We'll have a couple of Gopher football players and a great podcast for you to watch live, beer specials, and Head Flyer Brewing Gopher t-shirts on sale as well. We're also sponsored by State Farm agent Tony Hoagland. Again, I'd invite you to listen to past podcasts, and please click that subscribe button right now to the Go Gopher Podcast. It's free to subscribe and free to listen at any time. And please share the link to the podcast with others so they can subscribe and listen as well. We'll talk again next week. Hey, it's Mike Grimm, host of the Go Gopher Podcast, inviting you to join me for a live on-site episode on Thursday, October 5th at Head Flyer Brewing in Northeast Minneapolis. We'll be previewing the Minnesota-Michigan game, which is that week, the battle for the Little Brown Jug. We'll give away a pair of tickets to that game, have a couple of Gopher players on hand, and get everyone in the mood for Golden Gopher football. Head Flyer Brewing will have discounts, including great deals on buying Little Brown Jugs of craft beer. And the Little Brown Jugs are not that little. Thursday, October 5th, Head Flyer Brewing. Happy hour starts at 6. The show goes at 7. The Go Gopher Podcast. Can't wait to see you at Head Flyer Brewing.